Behind the Shades.
Now we're great friends, So like you just being true to you does allow those relationships to grow in a way that I didn't know was possible until I started putting it to test.
So when you began to realize that you're getting respect for standing firm in your beliefs, standing firm in your boundaries, let's help those who are listening and those who are maybe having a little bit of a struggle having the confidence that you have developed and having the forthrightness to say that this doesn't work for me anymore. What's maybe some tips that you can give them to help them along the path and further down the journey?
Yeah. The very first thing I would say is your body. I'm a firm believer that your body knows what's best for you. Like your soul knows, your body knows, and they speak to you. But we get really good at not listening to our body and kind of having a disconnect between our brain and our body. And so when you have that little twinge of, I don't know about this, or this doesn't feel right to me, like it happens. You just have to stop and pause long enough to be like, wait, what is my body, my soul, whatever you want to call it? What is it telling me right now? So you just pause long enough to be like, okay, being true to me means what? It doesn't have to take very long. It can be like two thoughts, right? Like being true to me means doing what right now? So for women, we are really, really good at taking on way more than what we should. And so we say yes to the carpool. We say yes to making dinner for the neighbor that just had a baby. We say yes to all these things. And a lot of times it's at the expense of ourselves. And I'm not saying don't do those things. Those are great things. But do you have the capacity to do them? Do you have any kind of resentment when you take on more? If there's any sort of resentment, then the answer should be no. And when you say no, it's liberating. And by the way, when you do say no, you don't have to have a massive explanation of why it's no. It can just be like, no, that doesn't work for me today. That's it. But when you do that, and when you listen to yourself, when you turn inward, you grow. And you start to develop like a whole nother level of self-trust. And when you do that, you're able to show up so much more authentically. So when the neighbor calls and says, hey, we need dinner, you're excited to do it because you're showing up authentically and you have space because you maybe said no to the 10 other things that didn't really serve you today. So women are great in the sense that we love to serve and grow and do all those things for people, but we need to do it from an authentic place. And you do that by listening, by turning inward, by saying, how do I actually feel about this? Asking yourself that simple question. We're really good at not asking ourselves that question. How do they feel if I tell them no is what we do, right? But hey, how do I feel about doing this today? That feels good. I can do that. Okay, I'll do it.
But Amy, saying no is so hard.
It's actually just a word, right? It's like just a word. It's as easy as saying yes. We think that it's hard to say no. And we think that it's going to mean something about us and that people won't like us. But what we don't really think about is a lot of times people on the other end are fine with no. Like when someone tells you no, are you so upset? No, I can't make it. I know that when people tell me no, I'm like, oh, okay. Like I don't even think twice. But when I say no to them, it's like, oh my gosh, they're going to hate me. They're going to, all of this mind drama. But really, people understand. People are good people. They get it. And if they don't, then you probably have a boundary issue, right? So let's address that.
I wonder how much of that is more of a reflection on us. Like if you tell me no, or before you even get the opportunity to tell me no, I've dreamed up this situation in my head where she's going to hate me. She's never going to talk to me again. She's going to sell her house and move to another state. Some people have that because it's like no one wants to be rejected. And I guess worse yet, no one wants to be the person that is rejecting someone. And I think we give so much power to the word no and maybe so little power to the word yes.
Yeah. When we don't really need to, though, they're just words. And really, you can say, no, yeah, that doesn't work for me. And the other person can be like, oh, okay. But then in that moment, it's like you've kept your power, but also it's okay. I think that's the most important point is like a lot of these things that we've created all this mind drama around, those are like our internal beliefs. Those are our like thoughts, everything that's going crazy up in our head. But really, when we do, and when we are being true to us, it gives us that much more strength for next time to be even more true, right? But also, saying no can be liberating. It's not necessarily bad. Most people don't care when you tell them no. That's what I've learned. And I learned it the hard way because I was a recovering people pleaser, but I was like, oh, they didn't even care. They were fine with it. Next time I say yes, they're like, okay, great.
Yeah, I remember I said no. And in my mind, I dreamed of the situation. This was like years ago. And I swear to you, Amy, I was thinking, I'm going to tell this person no, and they are going to hate me and tell every single person in the world. And I just said, no, this doesn't work for me because I'm not able to do this. And the person's like, okay, I completely understand. Thanks for telling me. And they went on their way. I was like, thank God.
Yeah. Oh, that's the point I didn't even make. It gets easier. Like, it's like, okay, it's like a muscle, right? So when you practice it, we get so scared of what might happen that we fall on this line of taking on too much or doing too much. But really, when we practice it, and like you just said, it's actually okay. You're like, oh, it was okay. Oh, it's my own internal beliefs and all these things that I have that I've made up in my head. And it's actually okay to say no. They didn't care. They were fine with it. But it's practicing it. It's doing it and seeing, like going through the motion, seeing that, oh, that was okay. Okay, I could do that again. And then the yeses feel amazing because there's no resentment. There's no like heavy burden or anything. It's just like, yeah, I want to do that. Of course I'll do that for you.
Yeah, I say no all the time now. It's like invigorating at this point. I just love it. I'm like, no, because I feel free from any guilt that I may have had previously. Right. And that's what I want. Is that something that you're experiencing now where you're like, feels good to say no and it feels even better to say yes?
Exactly. It feels good to say no because I'm being true to me. And when I say yes, I absolutely want to go. It's like a hell yes. It's like, yep, I'm in. Yep, I'm in on making that dinner. Yep, I'm in on going to that party or whatever. Like, it's like, yep, here I am. And when I do say yes, I show up 100%. When I say yes, time with the kids or whatever it is, it's like, yep, I'm here and I'm totally present. So it feels liberating. It's good. And it's okay, guys. Listen to yourself. If there's any resentment, then it should be no. If there's any kind of resentment or heavy feelings, then you're not being true to you. So think about that. Ask yourself what you want.